Hi everyone, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make one of my all-time favorite Greek comfort foods, Stifado. Stifado is a beef stew that's made with shallots or pearl onions. It's made in a rich, hearty tomato sauce that's the perfect balance between sweet and savory. You get that sweetness from the onions, and the beef just is so tender it melts in your mouth. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin with the shallots. So you can use pearl onions for this or these shallots. I'm using the shallots because I could not find frozen or fresh pearl onions, and I actually do prefer using shallots because they're bigger and they're just better if you ask me. So this is what they look like. They almost look like mini onions or large garlic cloves. They're milder than onions and a little bit sweeter. And we're going to begin by just slicing off both ends and then just peeling off the skin. I'll put them all in a plate, and they're different sizes. That really doesn't matter at all. I'll get my pot heating over medium heat, and I'll add some olive oil to it. And once it's nice and hot, we'll add the shallots in all together. And these are going to cook for about 10 minutes or until they get a nice golden color all around. While that's happening, we'll just cut the beef. So there are some really good options for this. So I'm using beef arm chuck roast today. I have this big piece over here that's boneless. I'll just cut it into about 3-4 inch pieces. They don't have to be perfect or anything like that. This is a very rustic dish. You can cut them a little bit smaller if you like and put those on a plate as well. As soon as the onions have got really nice color on them, carefully lift them out and transfer them to a plate, and then we're going to add the beef in. So if your pot isn't wide enough, you're going to want to do this in 2 batches as to not overcrowd the pan, because then the beef won't get color on it. It'll start to steam in the juices. This pot is pretty big, so all of the meat will fit in here, and we're going to cook this for about 5-6 minutes on each side, just until it gets really beautifully golden all around, and that's going to help it lock in all of that delicious moisture. Once that's done, I'm going to add a tablespoon of tomato paste. I'll just scoot some of the meat over to make a little bit of space in between, and I'll cook the tomato paste for a few seconds on one side, and then I'll make room on another side and drop in some garlic. You can add 4 or 5 grated garlic cloves in here and just warm those through until they're fragrant. And now we can add all of the remaining ingredients. You could add red wine vinegar to this or balsamic. I do prefer the balsamic because it's a little bit sweeter and richer. So I'll add 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, a 28 ounce or 794 gram can of tomatoes that are crushed, and then we'll season with some salt and freshly cracked black pepper. I'm adding 1.5 teaspoons of salt for the meat. I have 2 1/4 pounds of beef here, so I think 1.5 teaspoons will be a good start, and if we need more later, we can add some more. Then I'll add a teaspoon of dried oregano. Tomatoes are acidic, so I'll add about a full teaspoon of sugar. You could do a half teaspoon. You could even do honey if you prefer. 2 bay leaves, and then I'll add about 6 black peppercorns, a cinnamon stick, about 3 whole cloves. And then we're going to cover this with water, so you can add enough water until the meat is fully covered. Give everything a nice mix, and I also added some crushed red pepper flakes in there for a little kick of heat. Bring the mixture to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, reduce the heat to low and put the lid back onto the pot and let this simmer for 1 hour and 15 minutes. The sauce is going to thicken. The meat is going to begin to be nice and tender, but it's not going to be tender enough. At this point, you can taste the sauce to see if it needs more salt, or if it's still a little bit acidic, you could drop about another half teaspoon of sugar in there. Mix everything up, and we're going to add the onions back into the pot. You could shake the pot a bit or mix it very gently to not break the onions. And then we're going to put the lid back on and let this simmer on very low for 30 more minutes. This is going to fully cook the onions. The meat is going to get even more tender. And that's it. Once it's done, all you have to do is garnish it with a little bit of chopped fresh parsley, toast some bread to serve it on the side, and that's all you need. And there you have it. Greek stifado is ready. The meat is going to be so tender. The onions are going to be perfectly sweet. Your family is going to love this one. Let's do the taste test. I can hardly wait. Oh my goodness. I could eat this whole pot. It takes me back to my childhood. I love those warm flavors. The cinnamon that's in there just makes the tomato sauce so much richer and more delicious. I love eating these onions. They just pop out of their shelves. You can pair this with some toasted hearty bread, a nice salad, and you'll have a meal on the table that'll just warm up your family's soul. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, delicious.